Yo, 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 what it do? It's your boy Yellow the Poet.
What's up? It's Lex, y'all.
Hi, and I'm me. Who are you? Thank you for joining us this Saturday for another segment of Perspectives. Today, once again, our topic is about parental control. For some of you, that could mean a broad spectrum of different things, different definitions, but for us, parental control is more of, are you like that helicopter parent? You know, just constant cover. Do you control what your child thinks, believes? Do you, give them their opinion, or do you allow them to have an opinion? Those are forms of parental control that we're talking about today.
And do you have an open door policy to your children? Because that's important. They should be able to come to you and talk to you about anything.
Exactly.
But is that always possible?
I mean, what about you? You were a kid once. What do you think? Did you have parental control, or was it open door policy?
It was I think a little bit of both.
Okay, so a little balance never hurts. As long as you keep the balance, and doesn't become an unbalance. Which as a parent, we are not perfect. It can happen. Yes, we must recognize that, realize it, and fix it. Not just say, well, you're going to go with the flow of it because you're my child, I'm your parent, and because I said so.
Exactly. And also, it can be a pretty much of a double-edged sword being a step parent. It's kind of hard because for some of us, those of us who actually have that type of heart, you actually care enough to want to be a part of your stepchildren's lives in a way that's impactful for their benefit. And then for the others, the only thing you're concerned about is that parent that you're with. So it all ties in together. It makes a difference, but even as a step parent, you can still, if you need to talk to me about anything, feel free to do it, but you also have to be engaging. Like, I don't mind sharing my knowledge and information and my skill set and things of that nature with my stepchildren as well as my children. It should be that way.
Well, yeah. It's the fundamentals of parenting, period.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, whether you're natural parent or step parent, surrogate, adoptive, whatever, however you want to look at it, parent is parent. So it's all about how you take on that role. And like we said once before, parenting does not come with an instruction book. Learning as you go. Mistakes are definitely going to be made. Some huge, some small. But
So y'all, where did y'all think y'all line was with parental?
with our parent or us being parents?
Us being whoa. With y'all parents is a good start. Like with y'all parent.
Where did y'all? Oh, where did the control loosen up?
Yeah, like with your parents, because there's still some parents out here they like who bring up their grandkids like how y'all was brought up. But what do you think is like what do you think was too much?
For me, it was 6 of us, all girls. So my mom definitely had to have the parental control button pushed down at all times for the most part. But I would say for me, out of 6, I can't speak for my sisters, but for myself, I think I was like 14 when she eased up off the parental control button. And I mean, I was always able to ask questions. She didn't give me my opinion. She let me voice it myself.
Yes.
And not all the time did she like how I voiced it, but at the same time, she didn't give it to me. She allowed me to have it. So, yeah, but I would say like 14 is when she really started giving me a little bit more room to be me and myself, and you know, whether she agreed with it or not, she knew, okay, that's her, you know.
Exactly.
And that was cool with me. That's we ended up getting along a lot more at that stage.
So what do you think is too much though? Like, what do you think the line should be?
Well,
Or what should you notice about your child that'll give you reason to take off that like handy?
how they handle problems, how they deal with problems without coming to you. You know what I mean? Without coming to you, how they handle a problem. If they handle it with a certain level of maturity, I think that lets you know when you can ease up the button a bit. Like with them when they were small, I didn't want them out of my eyesight. So especially Cookie, my daughter and I. Oh, P.S. I'm so excited that my baby girl and my new grandbaby are here, and I get to cuddle my grandbaby, and I get to see my awesome daughter in person. Well, I will at the end of the day. But like with her, I didn't want her to be out of my eyesight. Him, I wasn't too much concerned because I already knew he was crazy and they could give him back. Wasn't nobody gonna take him. But you know, with Cookie, it's like I didn't want her to be out of my eye. And she used to tell me, "But Mom, it's just right there. I'll be okay." And finally, after asking me forever and me saying no, I had to realize, okay, she seems to think she can do this. So let me give her a chance to do this.
Right.
And didn't make the anxiety any less, but you know, hey, gotta let them try it, or how else are they gonna know, or how am I gonna know?
Exactly.
And that's how y'all was able to go further. Remember? I didn't want y'all to go a certain distance so I couldn't see you.
Yeah, I remember that. I was trying to remember when it got off, like when it.
In North Park, when we was in the apartment, but mostly when we was in city.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember how I approached it in telling y'all we went to like pass with y'all.
Right. But I don't think I got angry about it.
Yeah, I don't think you did either because we came back.
Right. And then that was a way of me easing up off that parental control because like, wow, okay, they did come back. So, you know, they safe, they knew what to do. If anything happened, I knew y'all knew that. I knew y'all knew y'all address, phone, all that good stuff. In case you got lost or whatever, what to do. So, yeah.
Yes. Parental control is like it's so different with other parents. Cause I remember growing up seeing like how strict, like how many parents was like giving more whoopings to their kids than anything. But that like it come with a weird price. Like 'cause it could be anything. Like the child turned out to be anything that is.
Yeah.
Like they may not like let go of that trauma or them whoopings till later on when they have a kid, and then
they realize why. The why.
Because they won't. That's kind of why I'm saying, like, if you whoop your kid that much. I remember seeing my best friend going to Shaquille with, and he was getting whooped daily, like daily. And his mom wasn't like she used to pull out extension cords and everything. But when I look at him grow up, it was weird because he didn't know why he was getting that many whoopings, and then he didn't find the answer, or his so-called answer to justify the why until he had a kid. And like, I don't know, you gotta think like, is he gonna whoop? You know, would you take the same disciplinary actions to on your kid?
Right.
Well, actually, that depends, and I would actually have to speak from experience on that part because for me, I was basically raised in a broken home. My family, my mom and dad were divorced when, by the time I turned age 5, they got divorced. So the discipline was a lot different for them, for me, as it was for my siblings, and looking at how the discipline was done, I refused to do the same thing with my children that was done with me.
Well, I definitely did not want to discipline mine the same way me and my older sister were disciplined because technically that was abuse. But and I always said that I would never, my kids are never gonna know what that's like ever. And they didn't. I mean, yeah, they received their fair share of spankings and an actual whooping, like wasn't that often. They'd do something super bad for that time. I mean,
I think whoopings are like phases, like cause.
And it was because I can't remember what age I told y'all. Okay, that's done. You're too big. It should be.
Yeah, because it start off as a pop, then it gets to like a spanking, then it goes to a whooping.
As you get older, once you get like to realize, 12, right? When you realize, you know that was wrong.
Yeah, once they
shouldn't have did
once
that.
your confidence start coming and you start talking, you start like challenging your parents.
Yes.
You start to see how often you would get. You start to see where they go if they open the door to have that. Like, but it's on. I just knew what. Well, not my dad, but I knew what. Not to say, like how, and my tone. I knew like how high to raise it, and I knew I accidentally raised it.
Well, you had that phase where you.
Yeah, I would get in trouble all the time.
You just. Oh, you wasn't having it. It was. I'm looking at you like, okay, clearly you have lost your.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. You get some confidence, and you just like, I'm gonna challenge and see where this going. And then you get whoopings. Yeah. I got whoopings back to back. Trying to figure out where I can challenge it.
Well, we can also kind of like reverse the question too, because like, at what age did you feel like it was overbearing, or that you felt like you finally got a sigh of relief? And for you too, PJ.
When I had.
Yeah, I really agree with that.
I think it's when I had told my mom about how I felt I was getting jumped by my sister and my dad, and she would listen. But I think she listened to me, and I felt. And before that though, I felt like nobody was. So
I remember that.
That was a big checkpoint.
I remember that.
Because now I was like, oh, I could just talk. I could just. I knew the tone to where she would be open to listen to, and I just ran with that. And I just started just speaking my mind from that same level.
And that was awesome.
Yeah.
Because I started to realize a lot of things about him. And I mean, because I always thought this devil, the Tasmanian devil, but I realized too that he's not always the devil.
Right.
He gets poked and provoked, and which would lead him to do certain things. So I had to take that into account. Like, okay, it's not always him that's doing this. He's a reactor, but it takes something to cause him to react. Which he stopped getting yelled at so much by me or getting in trouble by me, because I had to realize, like, okay, nah, he's not just going to do it just because to do it. Something triggered that. Mm-hmm. So I would actually listen to him or ask him, why did you do that? And if his answer made sense to me, okay. Justified. Remember, I used to hold like court. I said, plead your cases. Go ahead. Well, when you have siblings, especially if they close in age, the way him and Evan was, oh goodness gracious, you had to be creative and come up with ways to deal with that, because yikes, you don't want to make it seem like you favoring one over the other. That's not cool.
So PJ, what you think?
For me, maybe around like
Maybe
14,
around like 14,
when I was able to
when
like
I was able to like
get out on my own,
get out on my own,
stuff on my own,
stuff on my own, and
handle situations,
handle situations alone,
like that type of
like
thing.
that type of thing.
So when you was able to get out on your own and handle situations that made you feel a sense of relief.
Yeah,
like
once I was able
once I
to
was able to like
handle situations
handle
on my own,
situations on my own,
knowing that
knowing that
my parents
my parents felt as though
that I could handle
that I could
situations
handle
on my own,
situations on my own,
that basically gave me
that basically gave me confirmation like,
hey,
hey,
I'm getting a little bit of
I'm getting a little bit of,
a little bit of relief
a little bit of relief
to do stuff on my
to
own.
do stuff on my own.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good because at least you had the opportunity to see what it feels like to be able to do things on your own. And this is one of the things that parental control is about because sometimes the parents are a little too overbearing and a little too protective of their children and not allowing them to grow and be who they're going to be when they do grow up. They're too busy trying to structure them. And a good example would be like on Good Times. Thelma had a bunch of opportunities to leave home and advance in her life, but her mom was always so, oh, this is going to happen, oh, that's going to happen, with a lot of pessimistic views. And that doesn't help your child to be able to be out there and experience life as well as go off of the things that you taught them as a parent. How do we know if what we teach is effective if we never let our children go out there and experience it?
Or unless you have children like mine who go off and do it anyway, and then you learn how to they already done it. Which I didn't see that as disrespectful at all. I just took it as, okay, they're their own people. At the end of the day, no matter what I want them to do,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, they are their own person.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it something that I would have did? Yup. If that's one of the things that parents really need to start asking themselves too. Like, put yourself back at that age, whatever age that child tends to be like, what you perceive as getting you trouble or being defiant or doing what you told them not to do. Put yourself back at that age, that same age, and say to yourself, is that something I would have did at that age? And if that answer is yes, then you already know.
Yeah, you should basically handle the situation accordingly.
Completely different.
Not try and be abusive.
Not look right or not punish
down
them
on
and
the
look at
child,
them,
right.
look at it as if they defied you in some way. Because remember, your genes are in that child, so they're bound to repeat some of the same stuff you did at
Right.
that age. So it's pretty much like you're punishing yourself if you punish them for that,
Right.
as opposed to just talking to them about it and letting them know what your experience was. And that's a lesson that I had to learn to tell my children certain experiences that I had. No matter how ugly the experience was, let them know about it. So if they're ever in that situation, they know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to learn that, unfortunately, a hard way about not telling my daughter an experience that I had. and I regret that. That's one of my regrets that I will regret for the rest of my life. But if you, like I said, if you did that same thing that you get mad at your kid for doing, talk to them, tell them what you experienced at that age.
Yeah.
This is why I don't want you to do this, because this is what happened. They're more likely to understand and not, repeat it.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you, I think about if I never was able to talk to y'all about certain stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or even hear ugly, just the ugly past.
Right.
There would I wouldn't have the confidence I got, because or to do a lot, I feel like I would be persuaded easy.
Yeah.
If y'all didn't do that, because I would just be looking for that. So I would be looking for someone to listen to, or
Right.
for someone to listen to me, just through other people, and then that would kind of cause the effect of me listening to whatever
The wrong person.
Exactly.
And getting into the wrong type of thing. So, if you put yourself back, go in that time machine and put yourself back at that age and say, that's something I would have done or did do. If that answer is yes, take a whole different approach on how you deal with the child, with your child.
And you definitely don't want to steer your child in the wrong direction. And sometimes we give a little bit too much information. What you really want to do is just give enough information for them to understand why you feel the way you feel about certain things that they do.
Exactly.
And leave it at that, because as they grow, they're going to understand more and more anyway. And let's not keep thinking
true.
that the children are so dumb because they're so
But
young
that you need to
that they don't
constantly
know anything.
do that.
That's
Parental control, because I'm almost 50 and I'm starting to learn from my children. Not me so much teaching them, they're teaching me.
right.
So, and I'm open to that, because like I said, none of us are perfect. We all have flaws and we do not know everything. I don't care if we have been on earth longer. Yeah, we may know a little more because we're older, but we don't know everything. And there's always room for improvement. So if that means that your child becomes the teacher for you, let it happen. Don't let your pride get in the way of that.
And that's also a part of the circle of life. If you've ever did any real studies, then you know that as the parent gets older, the child does become a teacher.
Yeah.
But that's also a part of parental control.
Yeah.
Because that means that as a parent, you've done your job. You've guided your child and given your child all of the tools that they could to go out.
Get in the back seat and let your child become the driver. Let them become the driver. You sit back and enjoy the ride for the most part.
Yes.
And if they come to you looking for advice on something, okay, that's awesome. But if they come to you because they see where you, the parent, are about to, or you, the parent, are not as open as you should be, listen. Let's just listen. Don't hurt to listen. Don't cost nothing.
It doesn't.
Really don't.
It doesn't. And that amount of time that you utilize with your child, just listening to them, is crucial. That is crucial. That is one of the best times that you are ever going to have with your child, because that's the most memorable time ever.
Yeah.
When you're standing there or sitting there or whatever, and you're listening to what your child has to say. And I'll be one to say, as a man, because we seem to have the most pride, I've learned a lot from my children because I listen to what they're saying. And if it's something that they experience that I don't know anything about, then guess what? Am I lying, PJ? We're going to go learn about this together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. And that's how it should be. I mean, I'm still learning how to listen when my children are talking to me. They're young adults, and I have to see them as young adults, not still as the little one. It's kind of hard to separate that in the mind of a parent. They're no longer that size. They're this size. If not And for me, it don't take much. But I'm still, learning how to listen well. Yes, I listen, but did I always listen well? No, it's a difference, and I can admit that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And on that step parent note, I feel like Lex and I are a prime example of what a relationship should be, so to speak, because we have some engaging conversations about various things.
Mhm.
One of our key topics, is really about life, especially about energy, because one of the things I've learned growing up is about bending energy. And we talk about these things, and I kid you not, some of the most intriguing conversations ever. But these are also conversations that I don't have with my biological children because they're not really into certain things that I'm into, or things that I've been in as I was growing up. So to compromise, I actually go to my children and I'll find out some things that they like. And when I listen to the things that they like, I try to participate as much as I possibly can. And granted, I do a lot. So kind of hard to participate in everything. But that example of how a step parent can be with their stepchildren, it doesn't matter because to me, it's not about being a step parent, it's about taking steps in the right direction.
Right. A parent is a parent. I don't do my stepchildren any different than what I did to my own. There is no difference, you know.
Exactly.
The boys I'm gonna be harder on, of course, because as black men or future black men, they have to be strong. They have to have thick skin. They can't show weakness. You show weakness, you show it behind closed doors. You don't show it ever to anyone. So yes, I'm way tougher on the boys than I am the girl. Because, girls do mature quicker than boys. It's true. It's just true. So there's no need to be tougher on the girls, like not like that, not in that sense. So, but I don't do them any different at all.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
See, my conversations with the boys are a little more stern and direct than they are with the girls. With the girls, I feel like I can show a little more compassion and be a little more passionate about what I'm talking about. But with the guys, I feel like I have to be that example to show them this is what a man's supposed to do.
Oh, just admit it. You're sad when it comes to the girls.
Oh well.
Anyway.
Oh well. But
you expect more from
More
the
to
boys.
say than
More to say than
conversation.
conversation.
Okay, and that is true. All right.
Because we have
well,
a-
sometimes you can't say that. They kind of treat the
like,
girls.
Like,
Sometimes you gotta treat the girls like boys because they do need to be tough in a sense of what they will have to deal with out in the streets.
Well, I don't mean the sometimes.
Stand out
I mean
around.
the imbalance on how you do things as a parent. That's what I'm talking about. The imbalance.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
you can't full fledged treat a girl like you treat a boy, and you can't full fledged teach a boy a whole sermon about what females can and can't do or supposed to do. How do you look at it? You know what I'm saying? And think that you create a balance.
In all
You're not.
honesty, I think
Especially the boy, especially with the boy, because like now that I think about it, at some point I didn't know why I was getting more heat than Cookie was, but I did come to a realization when I was little, like because my pops told me like a lot of stuff that stuck with me, but it was mainly about just protecting your family. But that was supposed to, in my mind, that's the role of a male in life. So that was always only what I was focused on. So I was able to accept like a lot of stuff. But it made me open to learning more about like the reasons why.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't know why, I would feel like I would be holding this envious, like
grudge.
yeah, instead of understanding or accepting really your role.
And also, I think that mothers, I think more so than the father or the male, we are responsible for teaching our young men, our boys, how to treat women. We are responsible for that more than the guys, more than the father. We, because we know what we expect from men.
Oh yeah.
So we need to tell. It's like we can actually get. Now that's one time we can't say we don't have a book of instruction. We are the book of instruction when it comes to that. So mothers need to really, like, if you got sons, sit them down and have that talk with them on how you are supposed to treat a female. Don't just treat me good because I'm your mother. You treat me good because I am a female, which means that they will take that with them and know that they should treat all females the same way they treat their mom.
And also,
It'll be a
let
given.
me add something else to that because I can speak from experience of hearing the conversation from one of my sons. And for the sake of privacy, I'm not going to say exactly, but I'll say this. One of my sons was basically stating that when he talked to his mom, she was allegedly teaching him how to treat a female, but at the same time, she was kind of being condescending because she was on his girlfriend's side about something that he had not even done wrong. Those type of actions right there, you need to eliminate that from your persona as a person. Because when you're teaching your children and guiding your children, it should be straightforward and it should be completely honest, and there should be no sideline or underlining about it.
Well, exactly, and that's why I say mothers really need to step up when it comes to that. You need to let your son know, like how I put it to my son when he got into them girls and everything. If you wouldn't call me or your sister or any female of your family a bitch, a hoe, any of them derogatory names, you don't call anybody. You don't call any other female that because that's somebody's daughter, sister, cousin, niece, whatever. That's that. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't take kindly to them being called those type of things. The same respect that you would give me and your sister and the females in your family, the same respect you give other females that you're gonna have in your life. Period. That's just how that goes.
And one of the things that I was taught by an elder guy, it wasn't by my father, and that before I even get into that, which is real short, I admire the fact that your father at least taught you to be the protector of the family because my dad didn't teach me that. My dad didn't even teach me how to take me outside and teach me how to fight. He didn't do none of that. I had to learn these things outside of him from other guys. And those types of things right there, I'm almost 50. That's something that we carry with us for the rest of our lives. But one of the things that I've taught my sons, I've even talked to Lex about this as well, is no matter how angry you get with these females, don't ever leave a female where she is, especially like if you go out on a date or something and you get angry with her. I don't care how angry she is, what she does, you always make sure that she gets home safely. Always. Because one of the things that you need to look at is if anything happens to her, who was the last person that everybody knows she was with?
Yeah, that's very true.
And you got to understand this too. Police don't care who they lock up.
Yep.
They only looking for an opportunity to lock somebody up.
Yeah, and that whole innocent until proven guilty, switch that around because actually you're guilty until proven innocent.
Exactly.
That's just real, for real, for real.
But that's how it was broken down to me. Was the police don't care who they lock up. You was the last person with them. You're responsible for this person's death or anything else that happens to that person. You're responsible for it. So you have to be. What's up, Cuzzo? How you doing, man? So that's one thing that you need to put and instill into the young men's heads, that making sure that these young ladies get home irregardless of how you feel about it. If you decide to break up with her at home. Don't wait until you out there on the street and you leave for a stranger somewhere. That's not cool. I don't care what nobody say. That's not cool. If you feel like you can't ride in the same ride with her, call her Uber, call her Lyft, call her cab, do something, but make sure that she gets home safe.
Yeah.
That's true.
And if at all possible, don't argue. Take a page from this one's book here. You don't argue. You just walk away. You don't argue with the females. He just walk away. That's
Because
it.
I'm arguing.
Walk away.
I'm arguing. I don't care.
That's the way to do it.
I'm arguing. I'm arguing. We gonna get this out.
Not true. Not true. Don't believe that one at all. I've been trying for an argument for years, still haven't gotten it. So no, not true.
No.
I like to argue. It's fun for me, but I don't get the reciprocation. So no, not true.
No, I just don't see a point in arguing because I feel like you say things that you really don't mean, and at the end, you truly have strong feelings for a person that you still want to be with or still want to be with. So what's the point?
It's fun. What's the point?
Yeah. But also another thing too, if you're in a situation, you need to prepare. Like for example, if you have a low income, before you leave home, prepare your children for. If you're taking them to the store with you and things like that, prepare your children. Let them know that hey, I only have a limited amount of funds. This is all I'm going to be able to get. So when we go to the store, this is what we get. We're gonna
And
get
it works. I used to do that with them. Remember, 2 is the limit.
Mm-hmm.
And it works when you give them those options. It works. You're able to shop in peace.
Mm-hmm.
You not get up there to the counter. They want this. They want that. It works. It really works. Believe me, it works.
What's up, Tiffany? How you doing?
Hello.
Love you. Thank you so much. She said, "Love you, show."
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
I appreciate that.
She said you guys.
She said you guys were going to.
Oh, don't worry.
I miss her.
I miss her.
Yes. So, yeah, if you are that helicopter parent, the hovering, constant hover, don't give space, room to breathe, or you hear your kid tell you that, give me room to breathe.
Yes.
Why you always down on my back? When you're getting that from, that means you are being the helicopter parent, okay? So
Thank you, Tim.
step back
Thank
and
you.
just breathe. Let your kid breathe. And then, ask them, okay, how much room exactly do you need me to give? And
Yeah.
take it from there.
Yeah. And then compromise, because a lot of times the children, they don't really know how far to take that because they've never experienced that before. So
right. And then a lot of times they don't really know what to say, or should I say how to say it.
Yeah.
So just let them. It's okay. Sometimes you actually when you hear thank you, we're trying, but when you hear the parent say, I'm not the friend, I'm the parent. Sometimes you gotta go into the friend zone. If you want to have a really, really good communication, they have to feel comfortable enough to talk to you the way that they would talk to their friend.
Exactly. Like one time I remember specifically, remember this, PJ? I said, you can say anything that you want to. You can however you feel, however you want to express yourself, then you're in the no trouble zone right now. So anything that you want to say, anything you feel like you need to say, go ahead and say it. It's just me and you. Remember this, PJ?
Yeah.
They gotta
That
blow
gave
steam
her an
too.
opportunity to blow her steam off. And sometimes she said some things that were unpleasant, but like I told her, I said, remember, this is the no trouble zone, so don't worry about it. Say whatever you need to say. How else am I going to understand what her problem is if I don't give her that opportunity to vent?
Exactly. I remember having Alexis asking me, Mom, would you care if I cursed around you? And I told him, nope. As long as you're not saying anything derogatory and it's not directed at me, freedom of speech. Like, who am I to tell you don't do when I'm doing it? That would be me being a hypocrite. And unless I checked, I'm not that. So, with that being said, did my children have permission to curse? Yes, they did. But guess what? They never did it. Even though I told them it was fine to do, they never did. Even now, my children will not curse around me. They still will not do it as adults. Even though how old were you now when you asked me that? When they were 11 or 12? It was like 11 or 12 years old they were. And I told them, yeah, I'm good with it. You know, as long as it's not directed at me and it's not derogatory. Hey, they never done it.
I'm not even a biological parent. They still won't do it around me.
Right? No. Like, no.
I don't do it around older folks, period.
Just out of respect.
It's just an old. That was just. It's one of the tiny things I remember growing. That I like that I
kept.
Yeah, that I kept. And I'm like, that's
not respect.
No, it's just respect.
But I'm younger than you, so what do you mean?
But it's like it is possible to have a good relationship with your kid, and it is possible that you all can communicate without it turning into a big, huge argument over I'm right because I'm a parent and you're going to listen to me because you're the child. And you take that approach constantly, that's when the child is going to look for or talk to someone else other than you that may not be good for them to be talking to or listening to.
Exactly.
And if you want to go that route, then hey, sometimes us as parents, we have to push our pride to the back.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah. And learn to gauge things, because sometimes you think that when your child starts off a conversation a certain way, that you feel like, okay, I already know where this is going. No, you don't. You're not your child's brain. You're not, no matter how much control you think you have over your child, you're not their brain. So allow them the opportunity to speak and just shut the fuck up sometimes. Like, seriously. Shut the fuck up. Let them speak. How the hell do you know if you're able to even solve a problem?
And that's me, because sometimes I do need to shut the fuck up. Because I know that I will talk over if you're trying to tell me when I'm in that zone in my head. I do that. And I know that that's something, again, I need to work on. Hey, when I got a flaw, I'm going to call it out. I'll let you know. I know that I am one of those who do need to shut the fuck up sometimes. I know. But as I say, I'm a work in progress. Okay?
So the main point is, until you, as a person, as an elder, as a parent, as a guardian, whomever you may be in a child's life, until you becomes that person's brain, which will never happen, shut the fuck up and listen sometimes. It's not that hard. All you have to do is open your ears. It's really not that hard.
I'm one of them. If I need to tell me, shut the fuck up. Jesus, shut the fuck up. I'm just saying, hey. I'm most likely gonna laugh at the fact you just said that. But hey, if it's needed, it's needed. What are you gonna do?
Yes. And sometimes, it's sometimes as a parent, especially like when you're at and I'm gonna say this way because some people actually think like that. Especially when you're at a certain level of education in your life, you look at children and you realize, you think about all the stuff that you have to do right now, and you'll look at the children. My 10-year-old son is trying to tell me something while I'm doing something, because that's usually the most opportune time for them is to get you while you're doing something. So,
that's when they choose to do that.
So what I'm saying is, sometimes you have to put your brain on pause for a moment and open your ears and your heart for a moment, because it may not be important to you, but it's important to them, or else they wouldn't have never came to you to say what they had to say in the first place.
And for those of us like myself who brain constantly is going. Yes, it's difficult for us to do this. Again, work in progress, but we can do it. We can do it.
Yes.
Those of you who are on my train, yes, we can do it.
It can definitely be done. And that's why, that was another reason why I thought about this whole segment as far as parental control is concerned, because I want to kind of put a twist on what people see.
Oh, as parental control.
Yeah, as parental control, exactly.
There's
because
different
a lot of us
dynamics to that.
look at the fact that we can control certain things like electronics or your television, or prevent them from being able to see certain things of that nature. That's parental control in a whole different aspect. So I wanted to actually put a twist on that, because a lot of us don't realize that we are being a bit too controlled as parents. I mean, I got
and I know some of you probably are saying, well, what's going on in the world today? We need to do that, blah blah blah. Okay. You can still have control at the same time allowing them to have freedom. Freedom to speak, freedom of expression, freedom to, have some form of enjoyment without you being the helicopter parent. Because if you have confidence that you've taught them or shown them all the right things to do, or what you deem as the right things or the right ways, then there's no need for you to hover. There's no need for you to have the vice grip. Ease it up.
If you don't
I'm
trust
saying
what
just
you
throw your
taught,
hands up and say, go ahead, get on out there and do your thing.
right.
No, nobody's saying that. But you, as your child grows, you got to start to have that balance that they're growing. You can't you can't treat them the same way as if they were that little.
Right.
I had to learn that. I did.
Yes.
Because I was definitely one of those parents who, where you going? Who you going? I do that now. Where you going? Who you going? Who you going with? I need a name. What's the first name? I'm still doing that. I'm still doing that. But I do realize that, okay, they're adults. They really don't have to tell me jack, honestly. But out of respect for me, because they know if they don't, I'm going to keep bothering them. No. But out of respect for me, so I won't worry if they tell me. And I appreciate that.
And also, if you've taught your children things and you know that these things have actually worked,
right?
Then you letting your children get out and experience these things, experience life in the way that they're going to experience it, because it's not going to be the same way that you did, because times are different. But if you don't trust what you've taught your child, then you don't trust yourself.
Exactly.
And now it's time for the previous segment to return to your brain, self-reflection. Because now you have to go back to yourself and get yourself in check. And then
say, where did
the
this
situation.
paranoia come from? Where did this anxiety come from? How can I work? And you never know, your child might be able to help you to overcome that paranoia, that anxiety. They may be able to help you if you have the lines of communication open and you letting them know that this is something that you deal with. This is why I'm like that with you. Take it from there. Because children understand a lot more than we give them credit for.
Yes. And open dialogue is one of the best ways to get out what you're trying to get out of your children. It's actually one of the best ways to get anything out of your relationships, your children. And I don't mean relationships
pretty
as far as
soon
couples
your children will be telling you
that.
things that you really didn't want to know. But hey, they're telling it to you, because I know this one here told me stuff that I really want to know. But hey, I wanted that line of communication open, and it was good. It was okay.
As a father, one of the key things that is so important, just like Mom stated about women teaching the boys how to treat women, the men should also teach your daughters how to treat men and to also look out for the negative things that a lot of guys put out there
The
because
wolves
they
in
weren't
sheep
taught.
clothing, as they said.
Exactly,
Yes.
because they weren't taught.
Yes.
And I remember times, and it's to me, I feel like it was a good thing to my attention some of the issues that some of her friends were having at school, and I was able to talk to them about things that would help them to develop and to move on past the situations that they were having at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I was happy about that because she was at least willing to come to me. She felt like I could shed some light on a bad situation.
Mm.
And that's I think with parents that it'd be better if you knew or whatever to teach your kid, whether it be in small increments, just about money and bills. Like, cause if y'all don't, like, cause I be thinking about now if I would have knew certain stuff when I was growing up. But I understand how some parents may not know how to catch.
And on that note, it's like we for some parents, like I say, those who are on my train, you feel like their children, they shouldn't have to have that worry. They shouldn't have to know about any of this because they're children. So we're gonna let them be children. Not realizing that eventually these children are gonna grow up and be adults and have to deal with this exact same thing. So that's one of the things that I talked to them about it, but not in depth like I should have. So that was again, parent mess up. Yep. I own it. I did it.
And also not to cut you off, but I think parents shouldn't emphasize saving money, like, or telling the kid to save money, because I feel like that won't get you.
It's not teaching you how to do it right. It's really not teaching them about money.
Right, because if you teach them how to invest, if you tell your child you have to put this money up for a game and tell them that the game is the investment, then they can see investments and stuff that,
paying off in the long run.
Exactly, or that they're saving up too. But saving will just lead you to.
Yeah.
And as for me, it was a bit different because I took my children to the grocery store with me, and I started pointing out things that were of economic value. And I put it that way because, like, for example, if you know that you got $5 and you know you need to get at least 3 things from the store, why would you go and spend $2.49 for an item that you can get for a lot less and still get your 3 items at the same time? So I taught my children to evaluate what they're getting to get more bang for your buck, and that was the terminology that I use, is get more bang for your buck.
Yeah, but when you have those children who not always in agreement with that, like mine,
but also about
you gotta kind of work with the flow of things.
Yeah, but see, about the saving thing, for me, I've always taught my children, if you're gonna save for something, have a goal. Whatever the goal is that you're saving for, save up for that goal. Do what you need to do, and then move past that.
Now, see, I did the complete opposite.
See, that was great. I taught my children.
Yeah, I did the complete opposite. I told my children this was my concept for them. Okay, they got an allowance, but it was said to them, school is your job. Was it not?
Yeah.
School is your job. In the same way I have to go to work and earn my money, you got to go to work and earn them grades. You earn good grades, you get paid for those good grades. If you don't get good grades, you don't get paid. Because that means you didn't do your job. So that's one of the ways that I taught my children, you have to earn what you want. It's not just given to you, you have to earn it. Now, I taught them that concept, but as far as how to build their money, as far as investing and things of that nature, no. I did not teach them that. And school
I seen it as a job.
Exactly.
But if I would have seen it as an investment, my mindset would have changed. Because I would have
right.
thought that I would have been doing this for whatever I could benefit.
And that's how I should have had them look at it, not just as a job,
No, but it's
but also as an investment.
The English language
Right.
tricks.
Oh, yes, indeed. But it's just, you know, every parent, some have the same approach, some have different, you know, but, and we're not trying to tell you how to raise your children. For those of you who are automatically assuming, like,
Right.
oh, they trying to tell us how to do our kids. No, it's not that at all.
No.
We're just basically giving our perspective on maybe this can help someone who can't figure out what to do. And they might want to, you know, do something different, use a different technique. We can't talk to them face to face, so at least we can do it like this.
Right.
But if they watch it, then they say, hey, you know what? I'm kind of going through that with my kid. Maybe I can try that approach.
And also knowing your child helps, because when you know your child and you know their likes and dislikes, then you can pretty much gauge what piques their interest.
Oh, yeah.
And use that as a tool, basically, like Les was saying, if you saw it as an investment versus a job, then he would have thought differently about it. So if you know that your child is goal oriented, show them a way to think of school as a part of that goal that they're trying to reach. And then that will help them to be more intrigued about going to school, and they'll understand, like, hey, if I do this, then this is a part of it. But also show them facts. Don't just tell them.
Right.
Show them facts.
I think parents should emphasize investment and define it to their kids, like, very, very much, because it's such a healthy thing to do. Like, to invest is so important in the future. Like, when you become an adult, you realize that you got to invest in mostly yourself in order to get far. But when you learn it at a younger age, you start to think, the word investment itself makes you start to expand your brain.
Yeah.
And
like, what are all the different ways that I can actually do that?
Yeah, it helps you map out how you can get to something. Like, if I know that if I make an investment in school, and I have a plan after I get out of school, then I can keep investing off my
mind.
mind.
And you'd be surprised how quick your children pick on that, because I can honestly say that's like foreign language to me. But to actually listen to my son and my daughter talk about that, it intrigues me, because I'm like, wow, they understand that, and I didn't. I never got that, but they do. And when they're breaking it down to me and explaining to me what's this, what's that, how that works, this is the best thing that you should invest in right now, when they're telling me all of this, it's intriguing to actually listen to these people who say this, you know, and I'm like, wow. In my mind, I'm thinking like, wow, this is something that they know about that I don't.
And
like I say, parents don't know everything. With children, you can learn a lot from your children.
You also gauge that and start putting some of those ideas that your children are giving you. You start to put that into your grandchildren. So it also helps to help you structure your way of doing things as a grandparent, which is still that parent word in there, as well as a parent. And your conversations, like, oh my goodness, your conversations
be surprised,
so
like, how you're able,
when you're talking to your children.
Man, it's pretty.
It's mind-blowing
cool.
at times, and it's really good. It's a win-win for both parties.
And debate with your children. It is fun.
Debates
Believe me, it's so fun. Debate with them. Don't see it as they disagree with what you're saying. Debate with them. It is really fun.
Give that opportunity for open dialogue. Like, because the fun thing about the debate is it gives you the opportunity to see exactly what they've learned, and can they challenge the things that you said with their knowledge versus yours. And
you learn some stuff too in the whole process. You ain't letting them know that you learned them, but you learned some stuff too in the process. And if y'all just happen to not agree, just agree to disagree and still keep it cordial. Nobody got to get mad at the other and, you know, let it turn into an actual argument. It's just a debate, and it's fun. It's really
healthy.
Fun.
It's
very
healthy. Understanding different points of views other than your own is so much fun and it's so intriguing. I mean, it's fun and intriguing to me. I can't speak for the world, but I can speak for me. And
oh yeah, because I get in some heated ones with this one and my daughter, and not all the time do we agree, but we don't get angry at each other because I have to respect their opinions as young adults and vice versa. They don't have to, but I would like for them to, and they do. So it's not bad, and it's not a form of disrespect if they're challenging what you're saying. You should be proud that they're actually doing that. Honestly, you should want them to challenge you because they're showing you that they're capable of their own minds,
Right.
forming their own thoughts and their own opinions.
Yeah.
I feel like people always say, like, when other people debate and they get heated, and I think it always comes from a place of wanting to be right. Right. And if you go into the debate assuming that whatever I hear, both sides, could be a possibility, then it just open you up.
Yeah.
It's not
opens the dialogue up.
It don't necessarily mean that either or is right, but it's possible. That's all you gotta remember.
But just remember that everybody has a different point of view because that's important too. If I understand the reason why you think the way you think about a particular subject, then now I just learned not only what you think about a particular subject, but I also learned that I have a better bond with you than what I thought I had.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if I come across that, I know who to go to say, hey, you know, when we was debating about that the other day, what was that you said? The reason that. So it's really good. It's good. It's healthy, and it's growth for you and your child.
Yes, and this is what we look for in terms of being a parent. We want our children to grow and develop and be able to have their own mindsets and be able to handle things in life.
Yep.
We want this, but if you have too much control over your child, not allowing them to exercise their free will, then how do you, as a parent, expect for them to grow?
Right. Yeah.
That's a stagnant
cool.
world.
Very stagnant, and my name and who wants that.
And I've seen children who actually grew up like that with the parent always entrapping them in their home, never allowing them to go out and do much or do too many things. And then when they do finally get out, it's like they become those people that nobody wants to be around.
That's true.
Or they have to look for the approval.
Yeah.
Like, should they want your opinion? Of course. But your approval should not be desired nor required.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. Once they become adults, I'm sorry. Your opinion, yes. Your approval,
only if they ask for your approval.
exactly.
Then
That shouldn't be something that they need to have in order to move forward.
Because again, you're taking away what's known as their free will. If they have to have your approval, you're taking away their free will. Now, granted, there are stipulations. Like, for example, if your child's on punishment or something and they need your approval to do something.
Oh, no. I'm talking about when they're adults.
No, I know. But I'm saying, like, when they're younger, that's different. But then, as we grow older, your conversations with your children change.
It should change.
Yeah, they should. Because it should be a developmental stage. Because now there are things that I can say to my child. Like at the age of 10, there's things that I can say to my son at that age. Then when my son becomes a teenager, there's things that I can say to him a little differently, a little more direct than what I was able to say to him as at the age of 10. And then when my child becomes a young adult, I can really open up dialogue because now you're looking at two adults being able to talk, a young adult as well as a more and have an open dialogue and be able to reciprocate what's going on.
Yes.
You know? So it should always be developmental how we talk to our children, kind of like what Lex said when he was saying that you should be able to talk to your children on a certain level. It's kind of like that.
Well,
So it's
yes,
the same
because
thing.
as they grow, you're supposed to grow.
Yes.
It's not just, oh, I got to make sure my child grows. You also got to make sure you're growing with that child in order for the communication to stay open and active and healthy.
Yes.
Right. Just don't go into the conversation like with the mindset of what you're gonna say is absolute. Yeah, like just always think what you're hearing is possible.
Keep it open.
Yeah, it'll help you learn.
And for those that are like me, don't dismiss stuff so fast, because like I literally, and I do have a problem with this, and I'm working on it. I dismiss a lot of things, which makes me deemed to be forgetful on things when I'm not really forgetful. It's just that I really didn't forget them. It's just that I put it so far in the back of my mind that's not at the forefront. I'm not really paying attention to what's going on. So stop doing that for those of us that do that, because it's not healthy. It doesn't help anything. It only makes it a problem. Right, right. That's a problem. It creates more of a problem. And you being a parent, forgetting everything or dismissing things, no, that is not cool. If you have to start writing stuff down, do that, because that's what I started doing, and it helps. It helps a lot.
So this concludes our segment on parental control and
Hope
our
that you learned
perspective as
something.
what we saw as parental control, including our own.
Yes.
As always, tune in to us tomorrow for just open topic, open discussion, whatever you guys want to talk about as far as the topic. It's up. Make sure you post it so we can get it, and we will be more than happy to give our perspectives on that topic. So thank you guys once again for joining us on this Saturday. And as always, we're going to
Keep it cool.
Keep it real.
keep it respectful. Thank you.
Peace. Peace.